So, with regard to what's man-made, what's not man-made, as a field investigator, I can go to a crop circle and effectively attempt to determine if this has been produced locally by people with pieces of wood and physical devices, or is it something else. And typically one has to get to a crop circle quickly before many people have started visiting and walking all over it, because that can kind of, in a sense, destroy the evidence, and make it very confusing. So if one gets to a crop circle very quickly, then one would be looking for a pattern of damage that is consistent with human production of crop circles. We have reference points in a way where many circles have been made for television, documentaries, TV commercials, movies, this kind of thing. And, on many occasions we've watched people physically produce these types of crop circles. So we know physically how they do it, and, planks of wood and crunch, crunch, crunch over the plants. And that causes a very, very particular type of damage. So we would use observations taken from inside known human crop circles and then apply those observations to further investigation of other circles that we find. So if we go to a new crop circle and we find a pattern of damage, which is a kind of a crushing on the plants, a crush, 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 crush all over it, it kind of heavily implies that that has been produced physically. It heavily implies that that formation has been physically produced on the ground, because there's a pattern of damage on the ground. If you think of a man standing on a piece of wood on delicate plants, they crease and damage all the plants in a relatively obvious way, and it leaves just a regular, repetitive pattern of damage over the whole formation. And there's nothing particularly amazing about that. That's been kind of known and understood for 20 years. It just doesn't make it out into the world of the public arena, because many crop circle researchers don't actually research crop circles. They don't look to find out if it's locally produced or if it's something strange and paranormal. For many people, if it's a nice shape, that's enough. It looks good on a calendar, then they're not too worried about where it came from. But in a way, this is a physically manifest phenomena. It should be at the very least understood at the physical level before one starts applying interpretation. And when we look at the crop circles are appearing in many different types of plants in different crops. We say for instance we get many formations in the oilseed rape, canola, yellow flowering plants. These are very thick, brittle, very delicate plants with delicate flowers on, and when people make circles in those types of plants, they do horrible damage. They really wreck the plants, rip all the flowers off, make one horrible mess, and it's really, really obvious that it's been a mechanical production. And alternatively, I've been into formations in oilseed rape early in the morning on the first day. And there's been absolutely no sign of damage. The plants have this very neat curved bend out of the ground. There's no scraping up the stems. All the flowers are in perfect condition, and it really looks as if nothing physical has touched that immediate environment. and that is dramatically different from a human production in that same type of crop. People can make a very nice shape in a field which looks nice, very pretty, very nice from a distance, but when you get up close to the physical critical examination, it's just a matter of observing the effect on the ground, and one can tell pretty easily if that's been made mechanically or if something else has happened. And when something else has happened, that then requires additional research and consideration, because that could mean something special. But at the moment the subject is largely confused, because there isn't really any real research done. So all of the crop circles get put in one big bucket and mixed up and confused. And in my opinion, as a field investigator, that is just wrong. That's not doing any kind of service to anybody. People come here from all over the world to the silent circle here, and they just want the basic, honest truth of what's happening. Is this genuine or is this hoaxed? And, the fact that 20, 30 years on, people are still asking questions like that means in my opinion, something has gone wrong, because human hoaxed crop circles can be easily identified and separated from genuine paranormal crop circles, which can be easily identified. I don't know quite why this has happened, but my best interpretation is that sometime around about 20 years ago, this subject was hijacked by a new type of people that came into the subject that weren't really interested in really searching for the answers to a real mystery. They were rather more interested in promoting themselves as minor celebrities, making themselves feel important, creating wild, fluffy, fairy-like interpretations of shapes in fields without any kind of knowledge about where they had come from at all. I just find that strange and bizarre. You wouldn't, for instance, find any old UFO video on YouTube and automatically say this is amazing and this is genuine. You'd want to find out if this was hoaxed first, if it was made with a CGI, Adobe After Effects. And typically if a UFO video can be discredited as a hoax, then it's that's a hoax and it's forgotten because it's meaningless. And to me, the same thing should happen with the crop circles. If it can be physically identified as a hoax and confirmed as a hoax, then it should be put into a category as the hoax. This is a piece of art, it looks very lovely in the land, yes, but it's made by people. That's kind of interesting and kind of impressive, but that's nothing in comparison with the genuine paranormal phenomena which has at the moment been lost in this whole sea of confusion. And I personally believe this is by some kind of design in the sense that, if you cannot hide the genuine phenomena, which is a genuine phenomena that affects people at really deep levels, it really expands mind, it changes people's nature of perception about human existence and reality. The real crop circles have a powerful, deep impact on people. And I think there's some kind of mechanism in the background which is involved with the large-scale hoaxing of crop circles to create confusion, misunderstanding. It dilutes the real subject into a big confusing, I don't know what. I think that really needs to change. We really need to isolate the genuine phenomena from the whole hoax thing and then start doing some proper research on the genuine phenomena, which is really fascinating, really amazing and really interesting, and the hoax thing just is not.